After 1 year, I'd been back out on the water on a work trip over to the Isle of Wight, where I'd originally gone to help a friend move their boat. I ended up working on this motorboat. The good news was some money was banked and I was back over to Quay Lane Boatyard. Okay, so day 5 of trying to transform this free boat in 30 days, and we're gonna crack on with putting the engine back together. So this engine's been sat probably for years actually. I think most of the components are there, by put back together, you know, the engine itself is together. So we've got a bunch of bits we need to fit on. So there is a whole array of engine parts, filters, this thing. Remember a time when that's all I needed in the world. If you remember, you remember. Exhaust elbow and a stainless steel one, which is actually good because the original ones you normally get, you know, don't have a very long life on them. New impeller and the casing for the water pump, so that's good news. But it shouldn't be too complicated, I don't think. The hard part potentially is working out which bolts are for that, and the fuel tank, which I'll show you a little bit later on, has a hole in it, but you know, we can fix that. It's a hole in the top. I don't know what the thought process for putting the hole in it was, but yeah, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to move all of the sails from down there up into the V-berth so I can access at least the engine from that side. Annoyingly, I can't get to it from the other side, but I'm going to get cleared up. I was a bit late getting to the boat today because I had to price up a job this morning, but a bit more about that later on in the video. But let's see if we can get it back together, so that all that's left to do is to hook it up and see if we can get it started in the not too far future. I am still waiting for a key for the engine, so yeah, right, gonna get organised. Sometimes it's just knowing where to start, isn't it? Right, good news, what I was saying before about the bolts, scrap that, it's just going to be the nuts I need, which is a lot easier to work out than if I needed bolts, because you know, nuts can just go on the end. Right, I'll give you a glimpse. So that's where the exhaust elbow goes. Okay, so it turns out we don't have the right size bolts. What we will do though is, did bring a little selection of these with me, so we'll connect the elbow to the exhaust pipe so that it's ready to just bolt on then. Check I'm doing it right. Right, so all that's left to do there is to bolt that on. Several hours later, I'm trying to get this fuel filter off and I was having no luck. So what I've done is I've drilled through it, because it's the old one anyway, and that's allowed me to get a screwdriver in there, which I should then be able, yeah, to then hopefully get it just loose enough. It's already started to move. And then get the thing off. It's hard work though. Oh. there we are. Can we do this by hand? Might have to just do another hole, because the thing with working on engines is you never have space to get to where you want to get. That is moving now. It was jammed, and the issue is that is rounded, that top of that bolt. So it was, yeah, I couldn't get the whole thing off to get enough grip on it, but that now is more or less moving by hand. The space I'm in though is absolutely ridiculous. Like, you just always struggle to get to the bits you need to get. If you're doing this at home, you probably don't want to get fuel all in the bilge, but they just make it so there's just an unnecessary amount of turns. Right, old one out. Ooh. So it turns out as part of the exhaust there is also this gooseneck and a water lift. So I think it's to keep the water from flowing back. Correct me if I'm wrong. How it all goes together is a mystery. So that's the next step. I will just say dead quickly, ChatGPT is useful for a lot of things, however this not. It told me today that the fuel filter was not the fuel filter, and it's told me a few false facts. So you're better off just trusting your instinct sometimes. I just find myself correcting it. Right. Alright, so back inside the hole, I think what we're going to have to do is go backwards. Just because we know definitely the water lift, which is this part, and we don't actually know that's from it, but we know that that's the furthest away from the engine part, if that makes sense. So that's where the long exhaust must connect to, because that's all intact. So we'll undo the bit we put on earlier. That's where it goes out. Just going to take some editing. You know, trying to get force on anything in such a tight gap is not so easy. I'm about to have a sheer loss of patience. Maybe that's as far as it can go on. I'm just going to admit to having absolutely no idea. Right, we've had to hold on that whole exhaust system for now because it's confusing. So we're doing the other side. So the best way is just grabbing a pipe and seeing if it fits. So presumably that bit was bolted into there, which I would presume is to just keep that pipe, then that bolts into there, and I think that keeps the pipe away from the pulley. Is it called time whatever that's called? It's been a long day. And then this other part then should connect to the heat exchanger under here somewhere. Yeah. Right, connect that. No point pretending today's not been a highly frustrating day. I knew today was going to be, and you know, whenever I revisit this engine, because it's just such a tight space, you can't get anything off. Everything's difficult to get off. Everything's seized that could be seized. The good thing is, you know, there's not that much difference in terms of you're looking at a diesel inboard engine. You know what the basic parts are. What's thrown me is this water. I understand the concept of it, I just don't understand how it fits, and that's quite frustrating because you've got, you know, the exhaust pipes. It's the same as the toilet pipe. They're not the same, but you can never get it to go where you need it to go. So it's supposed to go from the exhaust elbow into this. It's got arrows on it, so it shows the way it's meant to flow. The arrows point towards the transom and where the water leaves the boat. But then the issue is, you know, in a small engine bay, that's quite a big part. When you've got the exhaust elbow, you're trying to get this upwards of the exhaust elbow. The exhaust elbow points down, so you end up then, you know, if that is in there, by the time that's sat flush, you have that then there. There's no other way it can go, unless, you know, there should be a shorter pipe. So for example, presumably the exhaust piping that's here were the ones that it should be. You have that bit, but that was already connected into that, so it doesn't make sense for it to be that bit of hosing. And then I feel like there was one more, or was there? No, perhaps not, actually. No. So yeah, if you're trying to, you know, unless another bit of hose went to that, to the exhaust elbow, maybe. If we argued that that went on there, actually, could that be what it's a case of? Nah, could it? But then you've got that, then points upwards, that's the way out, and then from there it's meant to go down into the water whatever it was called, the bottom bit. You know, I need to see a diagram, and the thing is, when I'm here trying to do stuff, I just sat all day looking at diagrams. I wasn't anticipating that. I've not had it on a boat before. I think part of the reason is the exhaust goes low on the transom, so only just above the waterline, whereas I've normally had where it's quite high up on the hull where it comes out. So it is meant to be there. Just where it fits, I have no idea. And then that, yeah, a bunch of frustrations. Fuel filter and oil filter we found. We got off the fuel filter. We've reconnected the pipe from the raw water pump into the heat exchanger. We need to reconnect the engine shut off. I probably need to see a diagram to make sure I'm doing that right. And other bits, exhaust elbow can't go on. Can't go on anyway, even without the bolts, because even if we had the bolts, because we need to work out which piece of pipe goes to it before going to this gooseneck. I'm going to stop talking about them now. But and then the water pump as well, we can't finish doing that because we're going to have to order the bolts. Everything else was there apart from the little bolts or screws, depending, and the model number of the pump has rubbed off. So we're going to have to do a bit of research as to which one it is. And then I want to put the fuel tank in, but I can't put the fuel tank in until all of the exhaust and stuff is in place, because the fuel tank then takes up the room behind the engine, if it even ever fit there. I'm not too sure. It's a daily vlog. There's going to be days that aren't great. When it's like this, you wish you'd done something else, but at some point I was going to have to attack this. My brain kind of knows where everything goes now. I'd have liked to have got it all done, but it's not gone that way. However, at least we've found the bits we found. We've got some inline fuel filters and stuff, but I'm not too sure we're going to actually put them on. Let me know what you think. I know on bigger boats that you tend to have them. It maybe preserves the actual filter, but I'm not too sure. We'll decide that later on. If anybody has any photos of how on earth this whole thing goes on, I mean, it might just be that it does sit fairly loose. You've got the two connectors. This is me saying I weren't going to go on about it anymore, which, you know, could imagine that could be a thing, but I've looked and you don't see anywhere that suggests the parts fit in anywhere. So unless they were just loose, you know, it could be as simple as one little bit of hose is missing, which if there's a hose and a bend, and suddenly that then looked like, oh, actually this makes sense. So, you know, maybe that's missing. But yeah, not got all that much done. And I've spent most of the day, honestly, just looking at bits going, how does this connect? The engine itself, I know what the bits are. I've not seen one of these gooseneck systems before. Any boat I've had before, the exhaust has just gone, and it's created the sort of loop you need to get anyway before getting it out of the boat, basically. So yeah, I'm just gonna have to work it out. There's a long way, well, it's not that far to come, but it's a fair way to come and not make the sort of progress you want to make. But yeah, as for the plan tomorrow, you know, I'm going to have to order these bolts and stuff for this, and I'll research. I'm probably then going to spend... I don't like spending days not making progress. I'd rather wait until I have an exact idea of how it's meant to go and then come back and do it then, because otherwise you just end up spending time looking at things, not really. And a lot of the time you can work it out if you look long enough, but I probably could with that. I do imagine all of the hoses there. One last thing I thought maybe is where the exhaust pipe fits to the attachment on the transom that then it pumps out, it's not actually got the clip on, and I'm wondering if actually maybe that water thing this, I'm wondering if that maybe was actually not connected as close to the engine, but connected way at the back just before going out of the boat. It's possible, because I can't see any other way this large loop of exhaust pipe could fit, and I don't see how all of these big chunky things could fit in a small gap where also the fuel tank fits. But we'll get there.